What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another knife therapy session. Today I got something super special for you. But before we jump into it, I'd like to thank my good friend on Instagram, rule_number_9, who requested this video after I posted this Strider Sng on my Instagram. So he requested a therapy session on it, give you all the details of this very cool limited edition dealer exclusive Strider Sng through GP Knives. So GP Knives, for the longest time, as long as I can remember, has done limited runs through Strider with this orange G10 scale. I find it very attractive. I liked it because this knife, when I purchased it, was purchased to go with me at work. So the orange worked perfect because if I dropped the knife, lost it in the field, hopefully I could find it easier. Also, one thing that always has attracted me to Striders is the flamed lock bar side of the knife. I think they do an excellent job at bringing out just pure quality aesthetics that really attracted me to the brand itself. I have been a Strider, fanboy for a very long time. I've owned Striders probably for the past 10 years, and conservatively in that time, I've probably owned 15 Striders. At one point, I think I owned 7 at one time. Just a lot of greatness in the brand, a lot of greatness in the design. It is a very useful design. I find a lot of utility, especially with this pretty much full flat ground blade. It is an extremely good slicer with great cutting performance. This thing, man, has always been good to me. And if you've ever purchased multiple Striders, you know that when you find a perfect one, that is something you want to hold on to. And that's what I've found here. This thing is excellent. It has done everything I've ever asked it to do. I've taken it apart multiple times. It always comes back perfectly centered. No complaints whatsoever. It is just an outstanding knife. So before we jump in too far, I want to give you some quick specs as always, and then we'll do some size comparisons. So this overall, if you're not familiar with a Strider Sng, the overall size of the knife is 8.2 inches. It's got a blade length of 3.5 inches with an effective cutting edge of 2.8 inches. The blade thickness is pretty much your industry standard at this point for a tactical knife at 0.16, and it's running on a CPM 154 blade. Just a great knife. I can't say enough good things about Strider. When I was younger, it was coming down. I was going to buy my first $400 knife, and it came down to a Strider and a Sebenza 21. Not these specific knives. Grant you, this was back when Strider had their old lock geometry that was curved, which was terrible. After a couple months of use, the knife would develop extremely bad lock rock and pretty much render the thing into a big giant rattle. And I couldn't have that in my pocket. I was just embarrassed to carry that thing around. So I stopped buying Striders for a while, and when they announced on USN that they were changing their lock geometry to a traditional taper cut like most knives that will not develop that issue, this was the first one that I bought with the new lock geometry, and it was absolutely perfect. I could not have been happier with it. Now, this knife, I did carbonize the lock face because Striders are notorious for terrible lock stick. So you pretty much have to break your finger to get the knife unlocked. So I went ahead and carbonized this one. There's absolutely no stick. It is absolutely perfect. If you have that issue and you're not sure of a good way to fix it, I encourage you to go back and watch our last therapy session last week, where I show you a foolproof way to fix that lock stick permanently. So it's a great video. I think you'll really enjoy it. So the Sebenza is absolutely perfect fit and finish, whereas a Strider back in the day, you know, very possible you could buy a lemon when you're spending that type of money and not get a perfect knife. So that's the big dilemma. Striders have a very sexy type of appeal to them. They're aesthetically very pleasing, especially I'm talking specifically to me, but you might not always have the best quality and fit and finish. They have gotten extremely better. Like this Strider Sng Performance Series, they have pretty much fixed all the issues that the old Striders had, in my opinion. Now, this is a $700 plus knife. This is a Monkey Edge exclusive with their double frag pattern. And this is an excellent, excellent knife that fixed all the issues that I previously saw in Striders. So that is very good to see. I haven't bought a production Strider in probably 3 or 4 years. When this one came, it pretty much sold me. I think I bought a couple after it, but this was always a keeper. And so when I had this, it just wasn't going anywhere. And when I got the Performance Series from Mixed Strider, it was those two, and I got rid of the rest. So those are the only 2 Striders I currently have, and they're serving me very well. Next, we got a Microtech SOCOM Elite, another tactical knife. So it's right, I guess a mid-size knife. If you're not familiar with the Strider brand, this is the mid-line size knife for them. They make an SMF, which is more comparable to the Microtech SOCOM Elite here. And then they make a PT, which is probably a little smaller than the Giant Mouse Ace Bibule we have up top. So if you're wondering, it is normally a perfect size knife for most people in their everyday carry needs. The weight is outstanding on it with the G10. The titanium it's a great carry. The clip is excellent. The clip is probably my top 5 all-time clips, and it just functions great. It's got great retention, holds in the pocket well. It's not super deep, but when you're carrying a Strider, you want people to know what you got in your pocket. So I think that's cool. This knife has not been upgraded. I haven't changed anything about it. No peat gray, lock stabilizer bar. Just a stock knife and just a workhorse. So you can see in the blade there, those marks beside the thumb hole. That's when I used this knife as a hammer. Worked extremely well. I don't recommend it because obviously you're going to mess your knife up, but I was in a pinch and it did the job, and it did it very well. You can see that I've used it as a pry bar multiple times. I wish you could have seen this knife previous when it looked, and I'm sorry guys, this was before the channel, but it literally looked like the blade was serrated. I chipped the edge so much from tip to heel, it was completely chipped out. And so it took an extremely long amount of time on the wicked edge to get this edge back to a quality apex and super sharp. So if you're wondering, on this Strider, it is a 18-degree angle on each side, and which I find perfect. I've sharpened a Strider at 15 degrees, very sharp, but the edge is so thin it will really chip out on you pretty easy. So I always, at this point in my sharpening career, I pretty much stick around 18 degrees for a Strider, especially that 0.16 blade thickness. I think that an 18-degree angle for an edge is just perfect for everyday carry purposes. You got a good form factor between toughness and sharpness there. Guys, if you have any questions about this, please drop a comment down below. Again, I'd like to thank rule_number_9 on Instagram. He is a great guy. He's got a great Instagram feed. I highly encourage you to go check that out. And thank you so much for watching, guys. And I will see you next week with another therapy session.